just do you think they helped with that? Was there some kind of bias there for Obama per se against McCain and anybody else there?
Yeah, I think that's kind of a canard. I don't think professional journalists generally are in the business of showing their hand toward one candidate or the other. What journalists do is cover news events as they occur. And if one candidate is running a well-organized, well-oiled machine of a campaign and not committing so many gaffes and speaks reasonably well and picks a fairly accomplished running mate, and the other picks a running mate who kind of turns out to be disastrous and is not quite as eloquent, and I mean, they covered the campaign, and if this is kind of the false kind of balance that we try to create sometimes as the media. If one campaign turns out to be better run and better managed than the other, we can't slant that to make all things look equal. And because certain things did not go well for the other candidate, it was somehow twisted into the media's bias. Well, no. I mean, that's not how it works. I mean, in other campaigns, it worked against it. When Al Gore ran, it worked against him. If you were, people were saying, well, the media was biased against Al Gore. The media was biased against John Kerry. He was swift-boated. So, it all basically ends up being a reflection of how well you campaign, which involves some image shaping. So I just think it's kind of a crock.
I agree. I mean, I totally agree. And the whole idea that there was this gotcha journalism throughout the campaign and for one candidate or another, I think it's bogus. I think it's really ultimately how the campaign presents itself, and I agree. True journalists are there to get the story and get the issues out and get where the candidates stand on each issue and present that to the public. And if one campaign doesn't do as good a job of that, or one campaign starts to fall apart, that's, I think, their own fault, not the media.
Ben, did you have a question?
Oh, I was just going to ask them what they said earlier, that you guys are saying that we don't watch TV, we don't read newspapers, so why are you going to appeal to us? But you said we do online. You guys, it's the online geared towards a younger audience, would you say?
That might be where your employment opportunities are.
Yeah.
If I were coming out of college, I'd go down to the newspaper to look. I know this medium. I can improve your website. I can, because it's a young person's game, and I don't. There's a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, basically, our website is we just take whatever story that aired on the TV and we put it right there for you as is on the website. I think it's pretty user friendly, but I don't know. Does it appeal to you all? Probably not. I agree. If that's probably a great way for you to get into the business and make a difference, truly, because I don't. What it is it's older people in our newsroom and older people running us. The owners are older, so they're not in touch with it all.
We actually have time for one more question, so I'm going to go with you.
My question is about some of the content and stories, and I know I was reading about how Kentucky passed a bill to ban the use of 911 calls being aired and stories and things like that unless you get the permission of the people or the family. So I was wondering, how do you guys handle, how you decide whether to use them or not to use them? Because a lot of people say it's sensationalism. So I was wondering how you feel about that.
I think I think the serious journalist always weighs a story and the use of certain information against the harm versus the benefit. And you know, sometimes it's a tough call. I mean, you're basically looking for the greater good versus the potential to harm in assessing whether information should be used. I don't think any journalist goes into it, or not many that I know, with the intention of hurting anyone. But the reality is, people do get hurt by what we do. And sometimes we just can't help it. And sometimes we realize someone will be hurt, but the larger imperative requires us to use the information. So it's a balancing act, and it's just a case-by-case kind of deal. Just going back, and this is what I was thinking of earlier. These are the professional judgments that we make. And it always irritates me that people assume, and you know, like, that anyone can do what we do. Like, you know, the bloggers and anyone else can just walk it off the street and just do journalism. It's like, I'd just hop in a cockpit. I can fly this plane, you know, it's just, you know, we do get trained to do this. And we do learn ethics, like you've learned, and ways to arrive at these decisions that, you know, other people haven't learned. So, I mean, all that comes into play when we make those decisions.
Yeah, I mean, basically, again, I think it is a case-by-case situation. And, you know, obviously, if it's something that's truly going to harm or identify some victim and harm them in some way, or bring more harm to them, you know, we weigh those issues, and we might not run it because of that. But I think that it also definitely has value. I know you mentioned 911 tapes, but for instance, there's surveillance video out today. There was a case back maybe a month ago or earlier this year, with a student that was left on a bus in Suffolk, Virginia. And the child was left on the bus overnight, and it was the next bus driver who came in and found the kid on the bus. Well, the surveillance video of that bus was released today, and it clearly shows that the bus driver basically got off the bus, never looked back, and by law, they're supposed to walk to the back of the bus, check every row, make sure no kids are still on the bus, and then end their day. Well, this bus driver clearly didn't do that, and you can tell it from the video. So do I think running that is helpful? Absolutely. It shows she didn't follow policy and rules. So it's a balancing act. Yeah.
Well, we would like to thank y'all for coming out to our class and speaking with us. We have some refreshments in the back if y'all just want to hang out and talk to us a little bit more if we have any more questions. But thank you. We do appreciate y'all being here. Thank you.
So where is this going to be?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Is this going to be on like one line, or?
No, it's going to be in Mrs. Bonnie Davis' hands. She'll have it. Yeah, there's a blog.